So it seems like many people still got a lot to say about this complex top 10 sneakers of 2025 list, which I'm guessing is exactly what they wanted. So not only do you have people arguing about which pairs should have made the list, which pairs should have been removed, which pairs should have changed positions, but you also got many people accusing Complex of taking payola, as 9 of the 10 pairs which made the top 10 list do happen to fall under the Nike umbrella, whether that's Converse or Jordan brand. So I guess there is a strong argument for the fact that the list definitely lacked diversity. Who knows? It could be a case where maybe Complex isn't directly taking payola, say, for the top 10 list, but with Nike being one of the biggest sponsorships of Complex Con, one of their biggest events of the year, maybe they're trying to keep, a clean face with Nike. They are one of the leaders in the industry. So we're going to touch on all of that. Now, as far as the top honors, the sneaker of the year, that went to Nigel Sylvester with the Jordan 4 Brick by Bricks, as you guys see him pulling up right here. Also, popping champagne in success of the accolade, almost like he just won Game 7 of the NBA Finals or something like that. So as far as that, on top of that, Nigel also put together this little clip, thanking everybody for the top honors. Also, letting people know that he would be shock dropping a little sneakers pass for everybody at Complex Con for the Jordan 4 Brick by Brick. So you're not gonna sit here and tell me that all of this wasn't planned, right? Which I feel like Nigel, he was still deserving of the top honors, right? Everybody's been saying the Brick by Bricks were gonna be the sneaker of the year since them joints originally dropped, at the beginning of the year. So I feel like we can't really take that away from him. I think he was definitely deserving of those honors. Did he probably already know about winning the award in advance? More so than likely, they had to plan the shock job. Also, even right here, Nigel's literally wearing a shirt that says 2025 Sneaker of the Year, Brick by Brick. So my guess, he already knew it was coming. But like I said, I feel like he still deserved the title. The only problem with him taking home Sneaker of the Year is I feel like now he kind of puts a bullseye on his back, like a target on his back, because coming up next year, he's gonna have big shoes to fill, right? Everybody's gonna be like, can he live up to the hype of the Brick by Bricks? Is he gonna have another Sneaker of the Year? And I feel like once you hit the top, it's hard to keep staying at the top, right? So we'll see how things play out for Nigel coming up next year. But as far as Complex taking payola, we do have Matt Welty, one of the co-hosts of the Sneaker of the Year panel. He's actually chiming in, replying to some of these rumors, which people are talking about, saying Nike pays $0 for any Sneaker of the Year list. Hate to break it to you. So that's coming right here directly from the man, Matt Welty himself. But you also do have other big prominent figures in the sneaker space, such as Jay Tips chiming in on the Complex list, talking about, I actually think people at Complex love me, and some are my friends. Selling thousands of Sauconys and participating in the brand's boost and relevancy just isn't as sexy as a Neon 95 showing up on your doorstep yet. But I'm in the conversation each year. I'm blessed, which I feel like that's a great attitude, to have, right? Not everybody's gonna feel like they're at the top of the pedestal, which I feel like this shows, the fact that he's humble. People also said that Jay Tips was out there at Complex Con, shaking hands with the people, showing a lot of love, just being real down to earth. So I can't be mad at that at all. But maybe Jay Tips should maybe pop his shit a little bit more. Maybe he'll get some more respect. I can't really tell you, but something very interesting that he mentioned right here, talking about it just isn't as sexy as a pair of Neon 95 showing up on your doorstep. So maybe Nike isn't directly, paying Complex, say, to put their sneakers, up on this top 10 list, but maybe the fact that Nike is sending out free pairs might give them a little bias, Maybe if, let's say, they didn't have some of these pairs at the top of the list, maybe Nike would stop sending free pairs. So it's also something to consider, right? Which I know everybody's upset about the list, but at the end of the day, I thought it wasn't too bad. I think a lot of pairs maybe should have been switched as far as the positions, but then again, like Complex, they're going for the biggest mainstream reach. So while there are other brands that did their thing this year, they're not gonna have, say, the big draw, the big reach as some of these Nike Jordan brand releases. So with that being said, I thought it would be a great opportunity to show some love for some of these sneakers, which I feel like even with Complex, these probably would have made, say, like an honorable mention or something, even if they didn't crack the top 10. So first up, we got to go with the Air Max 95 Cactus Flower. This is the SB collaboration, which of course, it's been a huge year for Air Max 95s. Some people felt like the Neon maybe wasn't deserving of making the list. As far as other collaborations, they were talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! Probably should have went above them Levi's joints. Also, a lot of love shown right here for these SBs, which would be the first time Nike SB teamed up on the Air Max 95, which it does still maintain all the same original design elements, of course, but with a retooling for more functionality as far as skateboarding. And let's not forget that these joints are also a looker as well. So definitely a dope release that we saw drop here in 2025. We can't forget about the Joe Freshgoods New Balance 992. Age well, which of course this pair kind of pays homage, almost like a pre-age look based off the original Joe Freshgoods 992, which is a release which a lot of people would say put a lot of eyes on New Balance, which of course we're not going to give Joe Freshgoods all the credit, but we got to show him some love as one of the people that helped pioneer, take New Balance to the places where it's at right now. So that's definitely a dope one. And Joe Freshgoods has another dope pair of New Balances on the way as well. We can't forget about the Jordan 4 White Cement, which this is an all-time beloved Jordan Brand classic. The fact that Jordan Brand absolutely flooded the market with these, you got to love it. This was rumored to be one of the biggest Jordan retro releases of the year. And all I'm saying, when you talk about hype and exclusivity, limited releases, let's just say if these joints were a lot more limited, they could have possibly made the list. Some other honorable mentions as far as favorite Jordan retros of the year, you got to throw in, of course, the Bread 85s, Nike SB Jordan 4s as well, just to name a few, plus so many others that I'm forgetting. This year, one of the greatest years of all time when you talk about Jordan retro releases, and one of the more underrated OG pairs, which was one of my favorites of the year. We got to give it up for the Aqua 8s, man. Keeping things pushing. J Tips, we talked about him earlier. While he did drop some other releases this year, one of my favorites would be one of the ones that he dropped early in the year. There's the Saucony Grid Jazz 9, I love you, but I'm busy. Which, what I love about this, J Tips, he's known for his colorful, masterpieces, putting these colors together, and I feel like this is one of his most unique. And who would think that like a pink, blue, yellow sneaker would all come together? There was also a cool little storytelling theme, attached to this one as well. So I feel like this is definitely one of the ones that deserves a mention. We also got to throw in the Ja 3 when you talk about basketball models. The Shea 1 got some love this year, which I absolutely love those. I feel like the AE2 may have dropped a little bit too late to make this list. Probably up for mention coming up next year. But as far as the Ja 3, definitely made a lot of noise this year. One of the best Nike basketball silhouettes. I've said it before, I feel like this would be like, say, if Nike was still making mainline Kobe releases in 2025, it would probably look something like this. So great silhouette, cool colors. The fact that they threw these on Nike ID or whatever they call it, that way people can make their own custom pairs. You love it, as well as the fact that they incorporated Ja's initials into the design of the upper. Just really great looking basketball sneaker. The New Balance 2010, this was the Kith collaboration, which a lot of people forgot about these because they dropped early in the year, but people were going nuts for these. Hype collaboration, Kith, they continue to expand. Colors go crazy on this. And this is one of the big collaborations to introduce this new Balance model here in 2025. And with that being said, as we bounce, we do have Nike footwear designer Bryce Wong, which he actually chimed in with his complex top 10 sneaker of the year list, which he said something very interesting, which it seems like he got a lot of people talking. So he said to the community and curators of this culture, if you keep rewarding retro models, that's all you're gonna get. So for everybody complaining that Nike doesn't make new shoes, now you know why. And I feel like bruh is kind of speaking facts, because as you take a look here at the list, outside of the Jellyfish, which is an update to an older model, I mean, you got the Shea 1, and everything else is pretty much a retro, which either dropped in the 80s or early 90s or something like that. So is he wrong? I would say so not. Let's go ahead and take a look here at the comments. We got Shade TV chiming in, talking about he's not wrong. Top Life World said, I agree, and the list is not accurate at all. Of course, everybody hates the list. Starsky said, they'll be telling on themselves. Never seen a company shift blame like this. They make way too much money for their employees to be this petty and time deaf. I ain't gonna lie. My boy, what's his name? Bryce Wong. I'd be curious to know like what designs has he brought to the table. And by him saying this, like, I ain't gonna lie, I know he was called into the office like his first day back at work. Somebody put this one right here. I seen Algorithm, which I feel like is definitely gonna be something on point. Risky Plugger, he said, it's the algorithm that encourages content creators to post the same old crap over and over. Unfortunately, the community is filled with followers and people who only care about hype, making the problem worse. Hey, that's facts, bruh. Kentucky Rig said, horrible take. Nike has enough to do both. It's a business. Always take what you brought to the dance, then slowly introduce new products. True, true, true. I just feel like Nike's doing a bad job at introducing the new products, because you see how with New Balance, when they drop a new silhouette, they always hit us with a hype collaboration. Nike dropped some pretty cool new silhouettes this year, but I feel like it takes that collaboration to maybe bring some eyes, bring some attention to that new model. And when you talk about the biggest collabs of the year, Nike continues to just drop them on the popular retro models. This dude, Swaggy DC, said most consumers don't really have personal taste. They just follow trends. They won't shift to new innovations until some celebrity markets them. That's exactly what I'm talking about, bro. Like, that's why we sometimes need a collab to put some new eyes on this model. He said Nike actually did release some genuinely new shoes recently. Bro, that's exactly what I'm saying. Shout out to bro. Let me go ahead and put some love on that one right here. Mike Fuller said they do make new shoes. People just don't buy them unless a celebrity hypes them up. See? So let me know what y'all think about that, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I appreciate my boy Bryce for speaking up, but as far as his day over at Beaverton, Oregon, I ain't gonna lie. You already know that boy might get called in by Phil himself or something like that. If not, the new CEO, Elliot Hill, might call that boy into the office or something like that. So as far as this complex top 10 list this year, Nigel, you ain't fooling nobody. We knew you already knew you were taking home the top honors. As far as the list, though, overall, I'm not too mad at it. I feel like it's a mainstream look. And if you guys are upset about it, you know what I'm saying? Show some love to some of these other models. Maybe they'll have a chance to make the list or at least make some noise coming up next year, bro. I feel like we can only blame ourselves. So, JATV, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you guys enjoyed today's update, smash the like button. If you've been enjoying the content, consider subscribing. Come along for the journey. I appreciate you guys. In the meantime, stay safe, stay blessed. I'm out. Love.